system that automatically comes after you. And I've noticed that I feel that it's a lack of responsibility from our leadership that doesn't uh, get into a debate. Because I would personally love to have a debate with with the incumbents, with everyone, so people can really see what we know, what our intentions are. Because when you go to a forum, usually the questions cater to the incumbent, because they're important questions, not because they're doing it to favor them. It's just these are the questions that are going to be asked. And when you're coming in, trying to run for a position, a lot of times you're left out in the dark unless you're really involved, unless you're really out there and seeking out information that is very difficult to find as a public person.
I've been through that. I've been through that. When I ran back in the '90s, I ran a couple of times in the '90s because the last time that was my third, fourth time running.
Yeah.
And I was living in over there by 5 Points because that area did not have any representation.
Correct.
And they wanted to get involved, but the city didn't want them involved because they viewed them as foreign. And what got me when they were doing the districting process for the first time we were having districts was that I was telling them, well, you need to make this area like its own district, and they didn't want to do that because they didn't see that they were fit to have their own voice on the council. So they made half of it part of Uptown and the other half part of East Whittier, so that people with higher incomes would have a greater say than people in the 5 Points area.
Correct. And that's one of my issues. That even now, there was a mailer that got sent out. You read it, and this incumbent is presenting a lot of good points, going down the line, giving his vision. It's going well, and then there's one point where it says verbatim. It says something along the lines of, we have to be careful with these outsiders. They're looking to hire their family if they come in. This is, to some people it may be considered racist. To other people it may be considered demeaning. You get different responses from a small statement when you're saying, if this person comes in, be careful because they're going to spend the money any way that they want. They're going to hire their families, and everything is going to change. It's going to be horrible.
It seems like we're getting assumptions from like both sides of that equation.
Yeah,
and everyone wants to talk, but no one wants to listen.
Yeah, and when we speak, we're being careful because we were told, hey, we don't want it to get rowdy. We want to make sure that we really hear the facts. But the thing is, we're doing our part, and the people that should know better because they've been in power for 14 years or plus are bringing out this kind of ads. And I've seen it in different elections, but in the last election and this election, there's been claims of discrimination. All kinds of things are being thrown into the mix. And one thing that I have to say flatly, I don't believe there's discrimination in Whittier. I believe that it's such a set structure in the way the government works, because we got to understand, the Quakers created this system. They created this special pocket that still remains special to this day. And it was created in a bubble where it kept outsiders out. But slowly you started getting people coming in that started reinforcing the Republican Party here. I know Vinatieri's father was part of that whole movement. You started building these communities, these churches, you started expanding, and then people started challenging the Quakers that were in power at one point. And then it all shifted to a different mindset using the same system. Today that system still happens. So if you're sitting in a position for over a decade, it is easier for you to keep outsiders out and keep the people inside, because that's the way our system is designed. It's worked for many years. We've seen beautiful things here. We've seen events here. We still see a lot of great things for families. But the deviation...
It's also risk adverse, isn't it?
Of course. But the deviation now is that the main focal point is developments. There was even a state of emergency declared on the homeless, but they're not looking to actually build anything. I think it's more of a way to bypass large developments for affordable housing, but what's affordable in Whittier. We don't even have a sustainability manager that would ensure that we're sustainable here. We have a city manager who's coming in from a city that's developed, done a great job. Here, we're still focused on developing when there's other needs.
I want to continue that thought. Okay, this is the end of part 3.